What up, guys? Welcome to Base Damage. And this week, it's me, Billy, and we have Waifu Wars. What's up, bro?
My dick. Just kidding. Nothing much. Happy Single Awareness Day. Remember, this is gonna be already uploaded. I was gonna say, maybe next year if your Pornhub is always free for those that are listening. Pornhub Premium.
And to follow up after that, we also have Frank. What's up?
Hey.
Hey, dude.
The Master of Aaron Values here.
Master of Aaron Values. There you go. Oh my god. Okay, yeah. We're recording this on Valentine's Day, so yeah, happy Singles Awareness Day for anyone who hasn't listened to that already. Yeah, so we got a couple things we're gonna discuss today, but welcome to podcast number 72. I actually have to add Frank in the notes now. I initially did not write down Frank as part of this. I was like, oh shit, wait. Okay. So a couple things. One, within the past couple weeks, there have been a lot of ban list updates across multiple card games. MTG just released theirs. Yu-Gi-Oh! Released theirs a while, like the other week or something like that, and then Weiss has theirs. But I'm going to go ahead and put this out here now. We're not going to go totally into the ban list discussion. Waifu Wars, y'all did a discussion on the new JP ban list and whatnot, and excuse me, y'all's thoughts on that. So we're just going to plug a link in the description for that video. Like, just go watch that if you want a little bit more in-depth discussion. I'm just going to touch up on the ban list for this, like here, bam, picture. And we'll, mention a couple things about that. But for the most part, I listened to the video y'all did, and it was very interesting, put it that way. So it's not like I'm just sitting here plugging without actually having listened to it. I did listen to it all the way through, so yeah.
Yeah, half of the video is like my mom interrupting me, so sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw that posted in the group later. You're like, damn it. That's great. But for anyone who listened to, it was last week's podcast, we had Frank on for our Gurren Lagann discussion and going over that. Row Fight to Powell. That was really awesome. But anyway, thank y'all gentlemen for being on today, and let's get right into this, because we have a very interesting topic after this a couple minutes of just going over the ban list. We got the Oshino Shinobu got taken off. Z3 got taken off. Fucking every single Promise Pendant got taken off their, like, choose one of two, and then the Angel and White Kosaki, as far as that got taken off. Which I really like the points that you made, Bentley, as far as talking about, like, the Promise Pendant stuff, as far as just with the stuff they have to deal with now at this point, it doesn't really matter for a lot of the Promise Pendant stuff. Do you think that with Z3 coming off, we have a better chance of getting the European fleet in English?
Honestly, I think so now.
Like, yeah.
Just because that's the only card that was on the list that's from that set. So, and like, I think the reason why that card was up or whatever, this Contai was up in. Okay, well, my opinion on Contai right now is that it's just like, it's a playable set for sure, but it's not like the Boogeyman set that it was before when it was like released in JP with alongside Nisekoi. Those two were like the top decks at the time. But now most decks don't care about if anti-salvage or anti-heal is even on engine, because they're just going to try to finish you off regardless.
Exactly, and that, for at least for like the anti-salvage part, that seems to be the same case for English quite a bit now, because for fuck's sake, if the anti-salvage stuff didn't state character up there, AOT would actually be having a hard time, like, yeah, or like a lot of other stuff, because
And I said this in my video, but I wanted to reiterate again. Like, there's just, if you wanted to play anti-heal or anti-salvage, then there's just like better decks out there, like Little Busters. If you wanted to run both, or if you just wanted to run anti-salvage, then Toolru, Or like if you just want to wear an anti-heal, then the updated JP list for Kill la Kill with the power-up set.
All right. For them JP players out there,
Yeah.
And then the last thing that got added was Sunshine got three cards added to a pick one of 3. So.
Yeah, I pretty much heard the double early play plan that a lot of Sunshine decks were focused on.
Mm-hmm. I knew what the Ruby did, but I had to look up what the other 2 did, so that'll be interesting. We're gonna I'm actually gonna, because we're gonna be getting that Love Live Sunshine set in April or May? May, yeah. Sorry, because April was gonna be Bang Dream, and then they pushed that back. So we're getting that in May. So at some point, I figured I was gonna try to go over that set a little bit anyway, and maybe explain why that stuff got hit for English players. At the same time, because it's a pick one of 3, they're not going to change the effects. Like, none of this shit was outright banned. Like, what was it, Junio?
Yeah, like Junio and Marika.
Yeah.
And Marika was changed. Yeah, definitely when it comes to English, I feel like Sunshine will be one of the top meta decks alongside AOT and SAL.
Absolutely, because that'll be crazy. But, all right, but with that, that's really all I kind of wanted to point out, unless y'all had anything else y'all wanted to add in on it, as far as for the ban list. As someone furiously types away. I'm just kidding. You're cool.
My concluding thoughts is that I played with Monogatari earlier this weekend, and it definitely is a better deck now with the updated restrictions. Like, it's not scary or anything, it's just, it feels like a deck that can contend now, like, that you can take to like a tournament and like feel more confident playing. Because yesterday I was playing against my friend Enrique with against his TP deck, and like he was playing the Power Smile over in the level 3 choice for the deck, and then so he's not running the blue Akatsuki, and he was actually climax screwed at the beginning. Like, he already went through like 3 or 4 climaxes by like the second turn, so then in those cases it shows where like the blue Akatsuki would have been really helpful. So I'm just hoping next list, and like they would slowly take off the like Ricky, the Miria on the list, and then like slowly work their way for Cinderella Girls, because right now the deck is like kind of hard to like play without like having some type of sacrifice when playing the deck.
Haha, playing with. Okay, sorry, that was immature. Okay. And any thoughts from you, Frank?
Can we talk about how Harui still has banned cards? Like, bro, I feel like they kind of were like, oh yeah, I forgot they were a set. Like, Bushiroad, like, come on, like.
What was it that was thrown around for a long time? Hashtag free the swing.
Yeah.
So that is
swing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I should probably come off the ban list. Like, I don't know anybody that would be like, yeah, let's play Harui in 2018. Like, it's gonna hold up pretty okay. It's like
I'd be interested to see it. Put it that way.
Yeah. But it's just like, yeah. I mean, the counter being, what was it, like a 2 cost 0? I don't think it's cost 0, but like the fact that it's just like it eats a climax at level 2 is just like, I mean, yeah, it does sound scary, but it's just like, I don't think Harui has a way to like actually grab it. So it's like they literally have to rely on drawing the card. So if they don't get it, it's just like it's not that big of a deal. Plus, also consider the fact that like most meta decks also, like, the cornerstone of climax combos are at level 1. So the level 2 event's really not gonna matter because you're gonna already do your climax combo at level 1. So you're gonna be getting your plus engine off to begin with.
I think with other, like, of course it shuts down like level 3 combos or whatever, but then like there's most modern decks nowadays also have like secondary finishers like Musashi's are like come into play burn. Anyways, so that event wouldn't be helpful in that regard. If their opponent knows they're playing against Hardy, then they'll just play like a field of like triple Musashi instead.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome. But yeah, like, if anybody wants a little more in-depth discussion on the ban list, please check out Waifu Wars, his channel, with a whole bunch of awesome content anyway, and of course us, dicking around and saying random shit on podcasts too, but that's whatever. And eventually we'll have Taylor on one of those. It doesn't matter. We will somehow get him in on a podcast. But anywho, I'm watching for you, McNeil. Anyway. But yeah, no, okay. But yeah, do please check that out. But one of the bigger... We're going to go ahead and move on to the next topic. And I'm just going to go ahead and give a shout out to this dude, Tyler, off of the global community. I mean, wait, foreign, right? I'm sorry. No, it was global. I'm sorry. I forgot. I was like, wait, I was confusing the two for a second there. No, we were jokingly saying global has basically become the next foreign. Yeah. I don't get it. So, I don't know. But it's just crazy shit like that. No, as far as like people discussing on the global community, there was a post put up literally like yesterday, so Tuesday. We're recording this Wednesday, obviously, because we said Valentine's Day at the beginning of the fucking video. Dude up there is asking about, people's thoughts on, well, he put it as play for fun versus play to win, so casual versus competitive. Easier way of just stating it that way. And it was kind of interesting watching people's reactions and everything from obvious trolls, but actual, genuine reactions of people's thoughts on it. I thought that was really cool and be interesting to discuss today. And put in my own thoughts and whatnot as well, not just reading off what people put up here. Even though I am going to be reading what people put up here and be like, hey, it's shout outs. I think I may end up reading Enrique's post if I can find it again. This Christian Yarbacher guy, I don't know, some weird dude. I don't know. Second place is just the first loser. What? I'm just kidding. Anyway, but yeah, so before going into like all of that, what would Frank and Bentley, what would y'all consider yourselves more of? Would you consider yourself more casual or competitive? And then I'll give my thoughts and whatnot as well.
As far as Weiss goes, I definitely could say for sure I'm definitely a competitive player, without a doubt. Because I go to tournaments pretty much, pretty consistently each week, at least once a day, once in a week. That is
same. So ours is on Sundays, so that's usually when I'm up there doing that. What day is your locals?
It's on Thursdays and Sundays.
Thursdays. Yes, you did tell me you were going to be running Gurren Lagann this Thursday. So yeah.
Yeah.
And Bentley.
I'm just a casual idiot that just missed. That's how I'll get good ones. No, I'm just kidding. I'm definitely more competitive for sure. I don't mind playing casually.
I realize as you answered that, the futility of me asking if you were casual or competitive when you went to fucking Worlds. So I realized my idiotic statement just then, and I apologize. But
when you say like, are you casual or competitive? Like, I always think it reminds me of when like guys ask me like, are you a top or a bottom?
Oh god.
Are you a seme or an uke? No.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I know too many yaoi fangirls. Anyway,
Jenna.
Yeah, exactly. Just one of many. One of many. Anyway, yeah. So obviously you went to fucking Worlds. Now that I'm realizing it, so you could definitely say this man's competitive. I am a mix of both, and I've played in regionals for Weiss, for Yu-Gi-Oh, for across umpteen card games, but I like just as much to make janky stuff. Hell, half of my fucking channel is budget decks as far as making obviously not the most competitive shit you'll ever see, and I'll point that out for those budget decks too. But I do feel that even with that, and this was a discussion put in a while back where it was like people trying to rag on Gurren Lagann, and people were like just not wanting to be creative and shit, and it's like, look, sure, it doesn't have the most... It still has really good shit and stuff in there, but not every single set is going to be, the nuts. So you gotta... you gotta work with stuff. It's not like Bushi can just hand you on a fucking silver platter everything you fucking want. You gotta work. You gotta work on shit. Anyway, sorry. Before I get too much into that.
Like I'm the type of guy that like I have like meta like JP decks or like an English deck, but then, like I still enjoy like buying into a set with like like Rider deck and JP whatever with all like the Rider cards.
Exactly.
Like having like level 1 9K walls or just quirky decks are fun to play.
Yeah.
Like and like to go back to the thing that you're talking about with like how newer sets like obviously they don't have like the high-end like meta effects that you expect from like previous sets. I think with the way Bushiroad's doing, like they're doing that on purpose for sure.
Yeah.
Like my thought on the whole thing is that like there's a reason why like every set is like kind of unique in its own way. Like if you want to play like a level 1 Amelia Magro effect, then go play ReZero or like ReZero or Puyo Puyo or whatever. Yeah. Like not every set's gonna have that, and like I strongly believe that there's no perfect set in Weiss right now. Like every set has its own like strengths and weaknesses, so we can't always expect like a set to like have something like a previous set had before, because like I think Bushiroad's trying to make this game pretty like still fun and engaging, like not trying to make it boring by like making every set the same.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know Kyle would argue the point that Milky Holmes is the new meta, but that's whatever.
Yeah, the demo deck is pretty strong.
The demo deck. But, no. I'm in agreement with you, and that's something I noticed with Bushi as well recent, because, like, Konosuba has some very interesting stuff in it, but you notice how their, quote-unquote, Winter Moment Akatsuki's were not on play. They were on death and stuff like that. So there's like, no, we got to change it up from what people were normally doing. So, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, not everybody's going to get the same thing, but that's me ragging on the people who are not as trying to be as creative. But maybe that is my competitive side coming out. I don't know. Maybe it's like, you know what? I want to, break the meta with this janky ass build or some bullshit. I don't know. Fuck it.
I think like a person as a player like playing Weiss, I think someone who can acknowledge or like remember like effects from like a certain set or whatever, like oh yeah, this set does that, whatever, and like learn how to play against it. That's like, I think that makes you better as a player as well.
Exactly. And I have like a couple examples from that. I'm not gonna try to go like not gonna try to like brag in any way, shape, or form. I'm just gonna give examples. There's been times like my buddy Tim, he would try to be working on stuff back when we were playing Yu-Gi-Oh! A whole bunch, and he would be like, hey, this new thing's out, what do you think we could do for this? And I'd sit there for a second and be like, oh, there was that one weird card that would work with this effect, and he's like, wait, what is this? And I'm like, oh, it's a set from like 10 years ago. Shit like that. And it's just, or like this past Sunday, more recent example, put it this way, one of the guys out there at our locals had just been working on getting the Switch combo deck for SAO. Working on that, and I was just playing janky Love Live. I didn't care. I was like, I'm just gonna have fun today. Hanako waifu +2 soul shenanigans. Let's do this. And he was playing against me. He was still learning the deck, and so I don't fault him for not being able to pull off certain combos or whatever, because he was still learning it and working towards it. Like D-Man had bought like boxes and whatnot, and had the whole thing, but it's the fact he'd be like, okay, I think this works this way, and I would just be like, yeah, no, you're good. You just do that, and you're good. I would point out like all the combos that he needed to do for that, and just like, wait, what? So sure, it's going into each set and understanding each set. Obviously, maybe a casual person isn't going to do that as much. They're not going to know what every single set does. Sure, but it's like I don't know all of JP. It's whatever. Before I get to ranting too much, because I'm going to be throwing more input on the continuation of this, but yes, I do agree it is cool when certain people can just, say, oh yeah, I remember from this set, this did such and such. I can do this to play around it. It's really cool when you see that kind of stuff. But I realize Frank hasn't said anything in a bit. Sorry, please go on, bro. Your thoughts?
No, that's cool. I've been kind of listening on the side.
I'm
definitely on the same page with what you're saying. I completely agree 100%. Yeah, it's just like, when it comes to a Weiss set, it's just like you take it how you perceive it. It's just like you know, you get you. I'm probably gonna butcher the saying. It's like, it's just like whatever you're given is just like you take it as how you perceive it, or how you want to perceive it, and it's just like, you know, with something like Gurren Lagann, for example, it's like somebody might think like, oh, competitive wise, it's not viable because it doesn't have anything that stands out. However, if you actually take the time to actually put the cards together, play test some things, and then actually see what works and what doesn't, you can actually figure out the set actually has potential to do quite a lot of cool things. And yeah, so yeah, when it comes to competitive, it's just like, you know, not every set. There's not gonna be like every set's not gonna always be suitable competitively. You can't always have a set being a meta set. It's just how it is.
Yeah.
In terms of business, that's just you have to have that kind of that like circulation, essentially. You know. And you know, and I also think the key thing is that when it comes to producing, you know, Weiss sets, I think the key thing is it's always best to try to make a set that caters both competitively and in a you know, for casual players as well. I think that's because then you get, you know, you get a little bit of you know, a bit of both, and you're able to get more of a demographic and more audience and more people, more consumers essentially, to be able to buy more product essentially.
And
I think with like Weiss, like I agree with like how it can be taken like however you want it to be. Like you can make it as a game that's just like casually where you just play with like friends and like you just play with like trial decks, but there's also like I think there is a competitive side where people like me will like notice like some good cards from like a certain set and they'll build around it and like just like learn up on like other sets and stuff like that, and like just understanding like your strengths and weaknesses of your deck.
Exactly. It's definitely once again, going back to my buddy who was learning the other guy from Locals who was learning how to play, he was still learning it. He's still, you know, he's trying to get to that point, like you stated, of knowing the ins and outs of the deck that you're running, and trying to figure out the most optimal play. That's you know what some people still are working towards and whatnot. That's I agree.
Like right now for this is just like my own personal experience right now. Like English P5 is coming out this week, and I'm trying to like build my deck based off like the AOT meta. So Futaba and JP is like good because she gives you damage scry, global 1500, and she can make your pants turn into a darkness plane counter basically. But with AOT and English mana being so dominant, like with Armin being hexproof and just like wind triggers also appearing in AOT into a real, like Futaba loses a lot of viability. So that's why I feel like I don't want to play Futaba in English. So that's like a competitive mindset, I think, where like how just a way to approach the game that some people don't understand as well.
Exactly. No, that's a very, very good point actually, because I think some people are looking at, you know, as far as like English people, some people don't really keep track of all the stuff going on in JP, and that's what they're assuming, that P5 is going to be like the shit because it was delayed for almost a year or something of that nature.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, they're just, you know, not wanting to, you know, give us too much broken shit, but then they still gave us AOT Volume 2, and it's whatever. But yeah.
And also, is it okay if I throw in a little bit of 2 cents in there?
Go for it, dude. After that, though, we're probably
building off of... Okay, so yeah, building off of what Beanley was saying about how coming to like understand the meta and what cards are the, like, I guess the most optimal and best suitable to play based on that competitive scene alone. It's like it's essentially, it's like the same thing with Attack on Titan Volume 2. How I am still a I don't care what anybody says, I'm still going strong on this, even like on release day. I am a huge proponent of that. I really do not like the Armin Runner. I personally do not like the card whatsoever.
Don't you mean Yellow Krista?
Yeah. Oh my god.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to trigger anybody there. Go ahead.
Lord, it's just I have pretty strong feelings against the card. I firmly believe that I don't like this card mainly because it's due to the fact that by the time you leave level 0, the card is basically dead. You're going to be drawing this card, and it's not going to do anything for you.
Mm-hmm.
And my problem is that you want to be able to draw cards that do something for you. Like, it's not fun to, like, clock something, draw 2, and you draw cards that don't do anything. Because, to me, a waste of a turn is when you're playing cards that don't do anything, and you just attack and they just die.
Mm-hmm.
To me, that's just a waste. Like, it's just, you could do so much more in your turn to be able to fix something such as your stock or your hand, or being able to maybe get rid of not get rid of climaxes, but like get rid of some damage out of your deck. You're like, okay, there's too much, like went through too many of my climaxes, so let me go ahead and brainstorm, maybe like square off with the Jean Kirstein, and maybe do a little bit of shenanigans here and there with some zeros,
or even
and
like
then we
how you said about the,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, or even how you said with the keeping stock. If you know you have climaxes in stock, you want to be able to get them out. Stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
exactly, and that's another also reason why I was also going with a 2-2 ratio with the 1-1 and the 1-0, because it's like the 1-0. It's like the deck, like literally AOT barely has any cost whatsoever in its deck. It's just like, who cares if you're paying 1? It's like you're just gonna be playing a bunch of 1-0s and getting in there. It's just like you're just gonna get the stock back anyways. Like, it's so easy to generate stock in the deck that like playing a 1-1's not gonna kill your stock resources really that much. No. It's not like you're playing like 4 of like 1-1 Sasha or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just like to me, it's just like, for the competitive scene, I think its problem is that it seems to me that the competitive players refuse to actually experiment with different cards. And they like to have this myopic perspective of like, if this card is being played as a 4-of, and if it tops in regional or worlds or whatever, they want to think like you have to play this card as a 4-of. Like, that's the only way to play the deck, or else you're either a bad player or you're just playing the deck wrong 100%. And I don't think that's how competitive decks should be built upon. In general, like that's how I perceive it, essentially.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair, and I actually have a point to build upon with that, because one of the next points we're going to go into, as far as when I was reading through the discussion, some people were like, "Oh, well, the stuff you get from topping is not as beneficial or as cool as it would be for other card games." Personal standpoint, going to fucking Japan was, seems like a fucking awesome thing, but I admit not everybody can do that. Sure. Congrats to Bentley for being able to do that. But it's sure, there's no like ARG for Weiss where there's like money tournaments and shit. Like, I think we tried to set up in our locals to do like a win a box tournament every now and then. Like try to anyway. But that's really kind of the most you're able to really get off of it, for at least for our locals. Yeah, that's whatever. Yeah, go ahead.
The thing with like Weiss tourneys or like just Bushiroad tourneys in general, like people don't understand that it's literally fucking free to go. Like, of course, like if you want to pay for like your own like travel expenses or like lodging or like paying for parking, then yeah, that's on you. But like you can say that for any like TCG tournament.
Yeah, like, I understand that there are some, like, for MTG, like, not harping on any MTG people in this regard, but I realize, for some people who play competitive, I will even go as far as to say professional, because there are some elitist people for MTG. Some people get fucking sponsored, like, or even for like Pokemon. What was it? There's like scholarships you can earn off of winning some of the bigger Pokemon tournaments, like for kids and whatnot. Like, that's fucking awesome. Sure, Weiss isn't going to pay your college tuition. Sure, I give you that. Sure. Even Yu-Gi-Oh has some interesting money tournaments, even outside of ARG. But even for their prize support is definitely a difference. I'll give them that. But I don't feel that that's. I don't feel, even though I'm trying to start up a store, I guess you could say, as far as like trying to post cards to sell and everything, I don't feel that should be someone's career. And Bushiroad is not going to let people try to make but so much money off of their game. Even Yu-Gi-Oh! Doesn't do that as much, because look how many fucking reprints, they put out for cards. Every time, this card hit, $80 because people were playing it in threes. Well, we don't want to hit it just yet. We're going to reprint it as common, so it's $1, and then we're going to hit it. It's whatever. Bushi doesn't seem to want people to make too terribly much money off of their own game. They want to be the ones to make the money. But that's personal opinion. Sorry, Bentley, go ahead. I know you've been trying to say something.
I was gonna just say, like, it's like how people expect, like, when they buy, like, a booster box, where they expect to, like, plus or something like that. Yeah. I mean, sometimes you'll get, like, a good booster box, like, a lot of the double R's are, like, worth money, but sometimes you just, like, barely break even, or, like, you won't get anything, like, worth value, and that's just how, like, TCGs work with most, in general, like, for hobbies, like, you're, like, going to a hobby, like, you're not really looking to profit or anything, unless, like, you are, like, really, like, a store owner or something. That's another different discussion as well.
Yeah. Like, what was it? There's a YouTuber who, like, for his box pulls is like, Did I Plus? Or something like that is, like, the title of the videos or some bullshit. I forget what it is. So, yeah, I've had those days. I've pulled SPs and triple rares and shit, and then I've pulled nothing. So, yeah. You can't expect it out of every single thing. Sorry, go ahead. And your thoughts on the matter, Frank?
On the English meta?
Oh, as far as, like, well, on English meta in general, yes, but as far as just, like, people who are trying to pay to win, or play to win money, or who would rather prefer to play a game to win money. Like, not harping on those people who do, sure, but it's whatever.
It's as the saying goes, to each their own. I would say, like, people should play the game how they want to, and however far they want to go into the game, and how much passion they have for the game, and how much they want to go into it. It's really dependent on the person. If they're wanting to just play the game because they like having, anime cards and being able to play with anime, that's all cool, and I can 100% understand that. And if there's anybody that's wanting to compete and win glory and win glory, like it's like, what is this, Yu-Gi-Oh, like trying to win the Battle City? but I digress. But yeah, like, if you're wanting to go to like Worlds and become the top player, win a lot of cool stuff. Even, if you enter something like not that Weiss has ARG, but like if you're wanting to do tournaments like ARG and win prize money, and if you're wanting to like win that prestige and like win that value, that's something. It's just, I think it essentially comes down to drive. Like, if you basically have that drive, then that is also fine as well. Because I mean, being a renowned coming back into Yu-Gi-Oh player, like I'm kind of sort of the same, but like to a small degree. Like I back in 2014 got a nationals invite, and I was excited, and I definitely wanted to go, and I was definitely excited about it, and wanted to compete in nationals and maybe potentially get a world's invite. Yeah. But obviously I didn't go because I didn't have the money to like go to Tennessee, because the airline tickets was like stupid expensive. Oh, absolutely. But yeah, like, as I said, when it comes to how anybody wants to pursue the game, whether casually or competitively, is just up to the person themselves.
Yeah, if they want to be the very best, like no one ever was. Oh, sorry, about to bust out in a song there. No, I understand where you're coming from, and it's, how do I put it? Which we'll try to move on to the next topic in a second here, but there's so much to discuss about this, I realize. With this, I like you said, to each their own. I'm not going to harp on whoever wants to try to, if someone wants to put all their money into getting SPs, or if they want to try to, in another card game, foil out their deck, make spend all this money to potentially, yeah. I hated how Yu-Gi-Oh was like a pay-to-win type thing, because I knew people, I'm sorry, back in the day with like fucking Burning Abyss, I knew a dude who had been playing the game for a month and dropped $500 on a fucking Burning Abyss deck. For anyone who doesn't know that, it's bullshit. For anyone who does not know what that archetype is, it's bullshit. I'll leave you with that. But it's just like, yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and pick up, the best deck right now and just go play it. If you got the money, you want to do that, that's cool. But I don't feel people should immediately put Weiss down for not having that level of those types of tournaments where people can win money or people can win, like how fucking Shonen Jump for Yu-Gi-Oh. I keep going back to Yu-Gi-Oh for stuff, but you could win cards from admittedly that promo Bentley had is expensive, but you could win like copies of cards from the Shonen Jump tournaments that you could sell for a couple $1,000s. Hashtag gold sarcophagus, that's whatever. Now it's got common reprints, it's whatever. But you see people are able to get that kind of shit, and I thought that was really cool. Sure, you're not going to find a $3,000 card in Weiss, or fucking there's not going to be a Minerva that's going to be retarded amounts of money. Sure. How much was that promo, Bentley? Like the Persona promo that you have. Has anyone bought that yet?
No, but I've heard someone has bought it from someone else for like $100.
See, that's still fucking cool to me. Admittedly, you had to go to Japan for that. Cool. That's no problem. But that's still cool to me. I don't feel that people should immediately dismiss it just because they can't try to get hundreds upon thousands of dollars from winning a tournament. I don't want it to be that kind of game. I've been in those games, and I don't want it to become that type of thing. It's like, no, fuck that. I'm sorry. Yeah. Extended rant there. I apologize. Please carry on for y'all's continued thoughts on as far as this is concerned. Bentley, did you have anything else to add?
I want to point out something that's been bothering me for like the community in general.
Oh, go for it, dude.
Specifically, a certain group that we all in that's been mentioned already before in this video.
The Shioko clan? Oh, wait, sorry, wrong thing. No. Kidding.
I think with every TCG, there's like always an elitist, like people who like have an elitist attitude and stuff that like, which is like okay for like some people like me who don't really care or whatever, like they just push it aside. But like for others, like that are new to the game, then they might have like a misconceived like perception of the community.
Yeah.
And I think there are certain individuals and like your video might get some shit now, but I think there's certain individuals in this community that like they like come off as like they want to be like helpful to the community, and I can see how they are trying to be helpful to the community, but the way they approach other people that like come off as really like elitist or standoffish, it kind of like, to me it seems counterproductive. Like
absolutely
saying like the way I perceive what they're trying, like when they're trying to help someone out, like say if I need help with like a deck or whatever, and I ask you, and like there's a way to like tell me that like maybe I should run a different card line instead of saying, oh no, you shouldn't be running this card, you're a bad player for deciding to play this card or whatever.
Yeah.
Or like that's completely wrong. There's a way to address it to someone that's like more like polite level.
Exactly.
Or like more like a positive, constructive criticism. I think there's a difference between that and like just being straight up like condescending to someone.
Yeah, there's one thing to be like, hey, if someone asks, hey, should I run this? And to point out the pros and cons of it and be like, well, if you want to, you might want to add this, or if you want to attempt something else, cool, that's up to you. Leave it up to them. Give them suggestions, not straight up go to them and go, I'm sorry, your tastes are literally comparable to excrement. Sorry, that means you have shit taste.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's very counterproductive. And like I said, it's one thing, I've actually said this on videos before where it's like, I don't mind constructive criticism. I've had people message me like, hey, awesome video. Have you tried this? Have you tried such and such else? For the fucking glitter green deck, I immediately had people messaging me about like, hey, you should also try and putting this in here. Here was I saw some people attempting this build or something of that nature, and I don't mind that. It's another thing when people write college-level essays of comments of pointing everything out that they feel is wrong with what I say. Agreed. So, yeah. But don't worry, I don't care if you can say whatever the hell you want. If this gets flack, I can block people. I don't care. But Frank, did you have anything else? Because I actually have another point to add to this. As far as I have other points to add to this anyway. I'm going to try to mention 2 other big things to this, and then we'll try to still put out our thoughts. But do you have anything else as far as pertaining to this? He's like, put me on the spot like that, dude. What the fuck? No.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, but I think I gave out my thoughts pretty much well.
You're fine, dude.
Just well thought out, essentially. I think I gave out essentially what I was saying.
It's cool, dude.
Mostly what I wanted to say.
Hey, no worries. Like I said, 2 more things I wanted to point out as far as this big discussion that went on in this group. Someone else pointing out, oh, well, I really dislike how there's not that much interaction between players. And how you can't really do but so much on your opponent's turn outside of, like, the trigger step. And I'm like, I'm not going to point out the people who commented this stuff, but, that's cool to have that opinion. Here's mine. Have you even played fucking Yu-Gi-Oh! Against, like, FTK shit? Where you don't get a turn? Like...
Yeah.
What?
For real.
And yeah,
or, like,
I hear
fucking Pokemon where you literally, like, draw through your whole deck or some shit like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like, I've seen that shit across multiple card games. MTG, Force of Will, stuff like that. It's a lot of stuff. One, that's actually still some cool combos you can do. Sure, but in a competitive sense, and I'm not even saying this, like I said, this is in total competitive mindset, not casual. I don't want to play against that shit. I do not like not being able to have a turn. Or, hey, I'm going to try to play this, cancel. Hey, I'm going to try to play this, counter card. You activated my trap card. Whatever fucking meme you want to throw in there. If that's your thing, cool. I want no part of it. And in that regard, Weiss has... You get to be able to do stuff. I like having a fucking turn. Sure, some people may take a little bit on their turns, and it's whatever. There's still some stuff that you can. There's still fucking runners aren't in the trigger step. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that can be done. I just feel going back to like what Frank said. There's some people that just don't explore past that. It's all I can do is play backups. That's it. No, there's more effects that you can do to disrupt your opponent. I'm not going to sit here and list every single one of them. But I don't want to be in a game anymore that all it is just who can cancel them. Who can cancel? Fuck it. Weiss is still a game of canceling. What are you talking about, Billy? I don't want to be in a game where it's just counter every single play I try to make. I like being able to play a fucking character and someone not go solemn judgment on my ass. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and it's like that's the thing with like any TCGs. Like Weiss. Of course, it doesn't have like that much interaction compared to other TCG, but then you have people who play Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh! And they complain about like getting like cryptic commanded or like having their like being like counter trapped or whatever. It's like
I got mana
like,
screwed. Yeah,
it's like what do you people fucking want? It's like that's just how games work.
And hell, side rant. I thought that was a really interesting way like Force of Will did theirs as far as like the whole mana screw thing where the stones were a separate deck and you were guaranteed to get a fucking stone every turn. Unlike MTG, you could just a pocket where you don't draw mana for 5 fucking turns. I thought that was great, and yet Force isn't doing that well right now. It's like, what the fuck do y'all people want? Sorry, mini rant over. Done.
I think I was gonna say when someone says like Weiss doesn't have much interaction, I always think to myself, well, if you want more interaction, you literally just talk to your opponent.
Oh my god.
Because it's like I'm really like for if it's you guys or like people I know, then like of course I'll like talk to them and like I'll have fun playing with them. But like
exactly.
And I'm trying to improve this as a player, but like if it's someone I don't know as well, or like it's a complete stranger, then like sometimes I'll like try my best to like talk to have like light talk to them during the game, so it's like not completely awkward, and sometimes I won't talk and it's like completely awkward. So it's just like how you make up the game.
What we're saying here is Bentley's very shy.
Unless you're white.
Unless you're white and a male.
And your name is Taylor.
Beanley secretly a low-key Gyaru, honestly.
Yeah.
Is it secretly? No, anyway. No, just kidding. Yeah, no, I agree. There's ways to have interaction. Like, I really love it how people will sit there and they want to be able to do shit on their opponent's turn, but they won't try to read cards. They'll just sit there and go, "What does that do?"
Yeah.
Can you fucking read, English? That's one reason I like English, is because I can pick up my opponent's fucking card and read it. Sure, playing JP, me no speak Japanese, please explain. Sure, at that point, cool. But because this is English, I'm able to pick up them and say, "Hey, you mind if I read that real quick?" "Oh, sure, thank you very much." "Okay, oh, that's cool. It's going to kill me this turn. Thank you very much. And you're going to put it back down." Or shit like that. This most extreme thing there, sure. But I agree with you. It's a lot of people just seem to just sit there and stare off into space. "Oh, is it my turn now? Okay." Yeah. It's got way more interaction than people try to make it out to be. Even outside it, sure, the joking about, "Oh, talk to your opponent." No, it's way more than just that. It's way more than just backups and darkness plan. It's compass, whatever your flavor of ice cream is. I'm ranting again. Anyway. But y'all, please share your thoughts. Share your stuff, because I could rant about this for a bit.
I guess I'll throw my hat in the ring, since I haven't really said much, because I've just been kind of like, I'm listening to you guys, and I'm just kind of like, I'm just putting my thoughts together, because it's like, because I definitely agree with what you guys are saying, and
you're like the wild thornberries guy sitting over to the side. Smashing, I agree, type thing. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. No.
Yeah, essentially, I mean, you guys are pretty spot on with what you're saying, and I guess there's not too much what I can add to all those, because I probably more than likely would say something similar. But yeah, I guess like one thing in terms of like the competitive spectrum, I could I guess I can add one thing that I'll say that is a little bit legitimate. On the competitive spectrum, like if you were to like take like a line, kind of like a line graph, and just kind of like place things from like competitive, like from like almost like from like easy to hard, some like, or like in terms of intensity of like how hard it is, and like how like basically how like in terms of like intensity, as I was saying, how intense it is, like how much of like the player, like not just like the player base, like the turnouts, the tournaments are, and like how difficult it is to reach the top, and like what kind of players you're going to be going up against.
Yeah.
If you had to put it like on a spectrum, I definitely could say something like with Weiss Schwarz, it's definitely more like leaning towards like on like the easy spectrum in terms of intensity, because one thing I will admit that is a bit of not good game design for Weiss is that when you take into a situation like with like canceling damage, because of the fact that canceling damage is pretty much essentially luck based. Because of that, you could be as skilled as you can be in Weiss. You can be an experienced, skilled player, but even with having skill and experience and building a very competitive meta deck that is very optimized as much as possible, you can lose easily to somebody that plays casually.
Yeah,
and that speaks volumes. It's just like in terms of like competitive, yeah, it's not. I want to consider it as like, I guess, what's the word I want to use? It's kind of like when you're playing fighting games, and you're like, oh, playing this fighting game's harder than playing this fighting game because of the like skill cap, essentially. If you see where I'm going with this.
Even the same comparison for that, like in fighting games, I actually got a point for this. How you'll like Super Smash Brothers or whatever, you could have people who understand how every single fucking frame of attacks and whatnot do in that, and then you're wrecked by someone who's button mashing. Sure, I can understand where you're coming from on that. And I've been on the receiving end of in Weiss where someone drops 3 level zeros and a +2 soul, and all of a sudden I'm at level 2. Sure. I agree in that regard that sure, it happens, but I also want it to be stated that maybe not to the same degree, but that happens in every card game. Like how I said, people would drop, a couple $100 on a deck for Yu-Gi-Oh! Or MTG. Once again, pointing out how people could have brick-ass hands of not getting mana in MTG, or just open up, oh, look, all monster cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever. I can't do jack shit with this hand. Your turn. Or you're going to have brick hands in any game. You're going to have situations where something goes wrong just because the probability states it has a chance of happening. Sure. And I do agree with you on that point. But that actually goes into one of the other topics that I wanted to point out, where people seem to make this seem like it's solely luck based. There is luck / probability in it. And it was actually a discussion I had with someone else where Weiss is also a very fast-paced game. Maybe not like to the same degree as like Vanguard, because I don't know what the fuck they're doing playing Vanguard. Like more power to them. I try to watch a fucking Vanguard game. I'm like, what happened? I blink and it's over. I say and over, but it's whatever. Weiss is much more of a fast-paced game as far as how stuff can change in a split second. That it's the person who told me this stated because of how quickly you can go through a deck from multiple effects, whether that be brainstormers, Akatsuki-esque effects, damage, or whatever of that nature. Luck seems so much more prevalent. Whereas there's luck in any card game, it just even though it is a little bit more prevalent in Weiss, it seems much more than it's actually made out to be.
Okay.
I agree with the person who stated this, but I cannot deny that yes, there are factors where sometimes you just open up with 6 climaxes and you're like, well, fuck. I mean, sure, there's the chance of that happening. So, what's the fucking Murphy's Law? Anything that can go bad will, or can go wrong will, something of that nature. I don't know, fuck. But that was the next thing I wanted to bring in. Go ahead. Yeah.
I also one thing I could kind of see something that I think is somewhat true is that I also do think Weiss can be in some situations of the game state, Weiss can be an unforgiving game. Because I have seen many games, and even including myself, that you can be outright winning the game and have such an advantageous position in the game, and that you're sure to win in the next few turns, and you can be winning, and you could everything could just go wrong in one turn, and you could just lose literally in the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what happened? Literally you'd be processing, thinking this literally should not have happened. And I guess what I would say is that I do think that there's a possibility that sometimes Weiss can punish you for winning sometimes, and be a little too much forgiving when you're losing sometimes.
Oh, look, I'm ahead by a whole level. Oh, wait, I'm behind by a whole level now. Well, fuck. Yeah. Shit like that.
Yeah, essentially like that.
Yeah. Sorry, I had a thought and then it vanished for a second there. I'm sorry. Agreed. And how do I put this? I have played so many other games where if you go through a deck, or if you run out of cards in the deck, you lose. Done. I've never ever played another game in which I can go through the deck 5 times in a single game, and it's still going. It's like, wait, what the fuck just happened? Shit like that. I'm sorry. It was just building upon what you stated. It's all of a sudden it goes from 0 to 100. It's just or I should say 0 to 28, but that's whatever. For anyone who gets that pun, thank you. But yes, no, please carry on.
Oh, another thing, something a little interesting. I just kind of thought of last minute. adding to the whole like Weiss is a luck-based game. There's a possibility that's how do I say it?
Intentional.
The idea of that, I guess that statement is built upon the fact that you're basically playing one game essentially. Because playing one game of Weiss, like, because think about it, usually most card games are best 2 of 3, usually. Weiss, I might be wrong, but like Weiss is one of the few, if not the only game that's like you just play once. You just have one round, and that's basically it, and you basically proceed. Oh, you proceed to the next round.
Yeah.
So because it goes by one game, it's not like playing one game of Weiss doesn't really necessarily is not a true representation of player skill or a deck's potential essentially, because you can literally just like play any deck. It doesn't even have to be meta. You can play any Weiss deck you can think of. You can lose one match and someone can easily just say, oh, because you lost the match, like that means the deck's bad. So I think possibly the statement of Weiss being a very luck-based game probably might come with the fact that by having the game being essentially like a one-match game, it doesn't truly represent or properly represent deck potential and player skill essentially.
I actually do quite a bit agree on that as well. There was one of the vlogs that UA had done. He actually mentioned something about that, and I actually thought this was what he stated for this would actually be kind of good, where if they actually increased the number of rounds, or like or maybe like did a higher cut and then did more rounds off of that. Admittedly, that would be easier to do for like some of the bigger tournaments if they didn't have Weiss on like the last day of the Bushiroad events. Like a lot of stuff, Vanguard has a day too. Vanguard has to go on like two different days, and they do like the top cut on the very last day or something of that nature. I've seen that happen in Yu-Gi-Oh, where a lot of it takes and that is a best 2 out of 3, where it take a whole day for one thing, and then they have to go to the next day for the top cut and stuff like that. I feel that Weiss should start doing that. Like that would be really cool. Increase the number of rounds so they're not trying to cram pack it all in one day. On the flip side of that, I have seen in like best 2 out of 3 games where the first game takes up the entire amount of the time that they would have allotted for the match for the best 2 out of 3, and then it's at that point it's no longer based on skill to me anyway. For those types of games, whether that be Yu-Gi-Oh or MTG, where they go into time and it's first blood wins, or first that's not skill. That's whoever just so happens to get it, or whoever has the higher life points or whatever, or higher life total wins by the end of a certain number of turns. I know that Weiss has similar conditions, even still being a best one of, but I do agree that that happens. Once again, I'm trying to compare this to other card games as well, where there hits a point where it's no longer skill, regardless of what game you play. So I feel that increasing the rounds, or maybe there's another method. I don't want to try to state that UA has the exact answer for this, even though I do agree that would be cool. Like, I feel that there does need to be something changed for how the tournament's set up. Like, I know there was the issues a while back where Bushi just wasn't doing the number of rounds that they should have been doing. And, they changed stuff without acknowledging it. Sure. Admittedly, I've also gone through 9 rounds in a single day, and it start at 9 o'clock that morning and end at 12 o'clock or 11 o'clock that night for a regionals. And that, because people stall. People take their fucking time and don't try to sit there and, really try to think of how to play faster. Maybe that's not the best way of putting that. I don't know. I realize I'm still ranting once again. My apologies. No one wants to hear Billy rant. Frank's just like, yeah, I agree. Billy, stop ranting. No, you're cool, dude. But I'll just simply end it with stating once again, yes, something could be changed to make it be more skill-based instead of just, I lost 5 games in a row just because. Or I say 5 games in a row. If you lose 3 in a row, you probably need to do something.
I lost round 1 because I got sacked by Haruhi. The counter ate my climax, and I just lost. I couldn't do damage.
God bless. I had a climax combo, but Gilgamesh said no. I don't know.
He was like, "That's my treasure."
Get the shit out of here, bitch. I don't know. I'm sorry. I ranted for a bit there. I please, other people share your thoughts as well. I realize we're also like at the hour mark as far as recording this. So a couple more thoughts. If anybody else has other points they want to throw out, absolutely, by all means. But we're also going to try to wrap this up soon. So anybody else's thoughts? Bentley, do you have anything else you want to state? For what I said, luck based or whatever other points you want to throw out, dude.
I just agree with everything you guys said. Like, I just remember like Saturday, like I went 2-2 for like a tournament, but the games I did lost, I felt like I just got Weiss because like I did my best to like compress like having 7 climaxes, go back in like a 20 something ish card deck when I still ate 7 and died that turn. It's just like that's just how Weiss is. Like no matter how much you try to control it.
At least you didn't cancel your flight, on the way
back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Like triple canceled it or
it's
something.
Like, what? Triple A? Well, like triple no.
Yeah.
Sorry, bad jokes. Alright, but like also because I said I would give him a shout out anyway, shout outs to Enrique. He could not be here today. But shout outs to you anyway, bro. He's like, man, I gotta work. Fuck, or something. I don't know. He said he had something going on. But those are like the big points I wanted to bring up. Any other things y'all wanted, whether it be like, from that comment section of foreign/global, or anything else y'all wanted to add?
I think I gave my 2 cents pretty well. I think it was more than 2 cents. I think it was like $1 at that point. Like,
I'm sorry, bro.
Like, here's my $1.
Like,
here's my $1. I'm gonna go ham. Like,
very good. I'm gonna go ride this the automatic horse thing outside a couple more times. Give me some quarters.
I think I've pretty much said all the things that all I can think of, honestly.
Yeah. You're fine, dude. I realize this is... I ranted a whole bunch in this, but it's because I really enjoyed this game. I have enjoyed it way more than a lot of the other card games I've ever played. And, once again, another shout-out to Enrique for this. And the comment that he stated, actually, he pointed out how, like, this game has constantly kept me on the edge of my seat. There have been points in, like, I've played Yu-Gi-Oh! Or MTG where I know the game's over. There's no recovery. But once again, like you said, bro, there's ways that it could just turn around all of a sudden, and that's one of the coolest things I've actually noticed about Weiss, where it just constantly, you have to just keep seeing what's going to happen, trying to keep making those optimal plays. In Enrique's words, he said is one of the games that's given him the biggest rush as far as just how the game plays out and whatnot. And that's how I felt. Like, when I was getting into it and trying to actually build, other decks and whatnot, not just, grab a trial deck and run, it was still would be like, I'm, fucking, near about hand shaking because, the game is that close.
Yeah.
Constantly. And it's just, I've not had that. Like, sure, I've had those moments, and sometimes, oh, wow, that's a really good game of Yu-Gi-Oh! That was really close. Usually it's just a landslide. One or the other wins because you can't fucking play at that point. And Weiss is just a constant back and forth in my opinion. I was thinking about back and forth in me. What?
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And I'll even say this, like, back in 2015, I did quit Yu-Gi-Oh! At that time, and I did commit fully to Weiss Schwarz. And I probably would say that's when I started becoming a competitive player, because that's when I actually started playing the game more seriously, and I actually started playing more tournaments and trying to get better, and actually started to, actually play better decks, essentially. Or play a better deck, that is. Because, like, all I meant, like, when I first started, like, and I guess it's true for everybody, like, when I first started playing Weiss Schwarz, when they had Sword Art, Love Live, and Madoka, I think I said that right. Oh no, my bad. No, I'm at Love Life. Fate Zero. That's what it was. When those sets came out, I bought Sword Art, and like literally, like my deck was super jank when I first started playing, and hell, back then I used to think Black Swordsman Kirito was like broken because I thought attacking twice was broken, but
I mean, to this day, there's still some crazy restanders, but you know, its level of restand is supposed to now is like, I have to be at 1 life essentially. What the fuck, you know? Yeah, shit like that. No, I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Yeah, I'm glad that I picked up Weiss Schwarz since then, and I'm probably gonna still keep continuing to play this game, probably for a long while. And I mean, I only got like a little bit side note. I digress. Dude, I literally only got back. I basically only got back into Yu-Gi-Oh about a year ago, mainly because of like nostalgia, essentially. Because from them releasing so many cool sets in a way, and releasing like some like really nice like Yu-Gi-Oh nostalgic sets and cards. And as well as like the Yu-Gi-Oh movie that came out last year, like, and it was freaking awesome. Like after like watching all that stuff, I was like, damn, I want to play Yu-Gi-Oh again just to like get that feel of like what would Yu-Gi do, you know?
Yeah. Depending on who your preference is, what would Kaiba do? What? That's whatever. He would screw the rules, you know. Anyway, more memes. Yeah,
and that's another thing too. Anytime like I god cancel or just like cancel like all the damage, like I just start shouting memes and saying like "oh baby" and like just like yeah, I just start like just shouting out memes when I start canceling. I'm like, oh my god, there's a second chance.
Oh my god, I understand. I've been there, bro. With that, I realize we've been going in for over an hour at this point. We could easily keep going on this for a while. I know I could keep ranting on this for a bit, but we will go ahead and end this for now, as far as, unless there's any other final thoughts, people just want to throw out quick points just to either side, anybody's side. I'm good right now. You good, Bentley?
I do want to say one last thing, I guess.
Just make it quick and go for it.
Yeah, I think, well, whoever's watching this, like, obviously there's we already covered, there's just outlets to like ask questions or like whatever for the game and stuff, and like it's good to get advice from other people, but then and like take that advice, I guess, whatever you want to take, but just know that like there's like a gut feeling or like gut intuition, or like you just know what to follow, I guess. So like it's like some builds like someone might suggest their build, and you try it out, but you might just not like their play style. So that's just like one thing with like net decking and stuff in general. Just like you can like try to net deck, but like you won't understand like the thought process unless you're like really advanced in like trading card games and understanding like the thought process behind a player.
So what you're saying is, don't believe in the me that believes in you. Believe in the you that believes in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. Done. I'm sorry, I had to throw in one more. I'm not sorry, I don't care. Anyway, but yeah, you have something else, Frank?
Only thing I'm gonna say is
he's like, I did have something until you dropped the fucking Gurren Lagann
thing. It's basically me. I'm gonna just shout it out. Hanzo mains AOT.
What the fuck?
Wow.
Okay, and with that, thank y'all very much for watching / listening. It's greatly appreciated. If you want to subscribe, cool. If not, hey, thanks to listening to us rant about card games for over an hour at this point. Also, once again, please check out Waifu Wars, his channel with really awesome content, really awesome viewpoints on a lot of stuff, and I've really enjoyed listening to your stuff, dude, especially on the ones I've been in. I go back and listen to my own voice, and I'm like, I sound horrible. And
always fun to be on here, and you guys better fucking subscribe to Billy.
Motherfucker. No. And so thank you to Waifu Wars. Thank you very much, Frank, as well, for being on. Very appreciated. And with that, we will sign out for now. Peace out.
See you.